All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. How you doing? Welcome. Sorry for the lateness. You know, I'm juggling many things, and had people trying to talk to me right before the show. I forgot to make coffee earlier before the show, so that was my fault. But good to see you all. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for hanging out with me each and every day here on these internets. I'm honored that you all come and hang out with me every day. Let's see. Yeah, I know it's a late start. I apologize. Try not to be this late, but sometimes it cannot be helped. Who was saying? Let's see. It's just Max RJ says smoke them if you got them. I know that's Hambone's line, but it's a pretty good one. As far as signature lines go, pretty good line. I don't mind it. As usual, so much to talk about today, but we'll, just kind of dive into it. It's Friday Fix. Doing a little more interaction with the crowd today. I mean, I usually do quite a bit of interaction with the crowd. What's up, Rockfin people? We're live on Rockfin. We're live on Callin. We're live on YouTube. Again, I'm going to actually show you a couple of stories. Yeah, creative experiments. Coffee every day makes my sleep crappy. Would you like some crappy? Makes my sleep crappy too, but it also makes if I don't have coffee, it makes my awake really crappy. I have no energy. I saw that. Going south, Twitter was sold to the WEF. I don't know that it was ever not. I think it was a little sleight of hand, a little 3-card Monty in there. People are still being censored. That's what I was trying to say. Are you guys on, Rockfin? You guys okay? Obsolete Optics says, what's taking so long? I'm on. I'm here. I'm going to show you a couple stories, and one of them has to do with Jem Bendel. It says, if there's an apocalyptic narrative that's being put forward by globalist elites, as Jordan Peterson recently told Joe Rogan, then why is Facebook censoring the sharing of a GQ magazine article on the collapse of modern societies? Are the globalists that confused? Or just bad at algorithms? Facebook censored Jonathan Franzen's piece on similar topics for the last few years. Anyways, Jem Bendel, I guess, had a post censored. It was a link from GQ magazine, Adapt or Die. Jim Bendel's radical vision to survive the climate crisis. Huh. Well, so, and we did see, see, if you have enough reach, and if you're big enough of a name, and if they're worried that enough people will see your posts, they don't want the message of, oh crap, they don't want the message of collapse being put out there. They don't want the message of planetary collapse being put out there. They don't want the message of reality of overpopulation, of the futility of the renewable, or the fourth industrial revolution thing not being a viable answer to climate change. Right? See Michael Moore and Planet of the Humans. Right? Michael Moore put out a pretty darn good documentary about the reality of renewable energy, overpopulation, overconsumption, and the fact that we're not really taking corrective action on climate change. They didn't like that. They didn't like that at all, and they didn't like somebody asking real questions about it. So, and that leads me to say one more time, the conspiracy is not that climate change is a hoax. The conspiracy is that it's much worse than they want you to know. They want you to think that, climate change is bad, but you replace your stove and you'll be fixing it. That's not the truth. Climate change is real. It's really bad. And the best thing we could do is stop, taking part in industrial civilization. Together as a team, as a, we can do this, communally, we can do it cooperatively, we can do it in a way that won't, lead to hurting people or people dying, right? If we were allowed to think it through. I mean, Creative Experiments asks, why is there no ride the bus movement? I mean, there is a little bit. There's actually, in LA, there are people who are aware that owning a personal car is not really great. There's actually, LA is probably one of the hardest places to live without a car, and there are people that intentionally don't have a car here. They try to get by with public transportation or Lyft or other things. And it can be done. It's a little inconvenient. And there are also a lot of people that intentionally try to take mass transportation, buses, trains, and whatnot, in order to not add themselves to the amazing number of people out on the road and out on the freeways here. It's not a well-publicized movement. I'll have to say that much. It's not, it's not super popular. It's not something that people talk about. It's just something that they do on their own, right? Because they get enough information. They see that things are not right. They know enough about climate change to know that maybe they don't want to be a part of the problem, and so they try to, so it's more like individual people trying to do better things, make better choices, and that's great. All right, some more people filing into Rockfin. Great. Hello. Oh, that's interesting, Denver. Denver says Bill Gates' appeal tech that we talked about the other day would be much better suited to tree bark to keep trees from dying due to UVC radiation. Wow. reaching the surface. Most of the scientific community denies, right? Does the scientific community, do they deny that UVC is reaching the Earth? I don't know. I don't hear it talked about much. Thanks for the link, by the way. But Guy McPherson a few years ago. Oh, that's an interesting article or a study. Wow, this is a very interesting study. I mean, they start off assuming that geoengineering is already going on, which, there you go. Huh. Wait, hold on. Let me go back here. Interesting. Man, I'm going to have to read this. Anyways, it was reported that UVC reached the ground, the surface of the Earth. Guy McPherson reported on that a few years ago. And that would be super, super bad if that were a thing that was happening, a common occurrence, right? It's not supposed to reach the ground. High levels of UVC, yes, Aaron, or Aaron. High levels of, UVB could reach the ground. If at higher levels, that could be detrimental to plants and animals and insects, for sure. And humans, sure. So, and what are we seeing on the whole? Big picture over the last few years, very high levels of UVC meeting the ground, hitting the ground, right? High levels of UVC. I mean, not UVC. Sorry. Let me go back. High UV levels reaching the ground, right? Which could explain a lot. Would explain a lot. Thanks for the link, Denver. That's, very good. Yeah, 2018. Well, I think it was like maybe 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when Guy McPherson said that they in South America, I believe it was, that they had detected UVC hitting the surface of the planet. Osama says even those who study the atmosphere do not mention the very obvious aerial spring. It's so dang obvious. Like, you got to really do a lot of mental gymnastics to go, that's just normal. Like, you super have to do a lot of mental gymnastics for that. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Give me a second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Give me a moment, guys. Let's see. So you would have, yeah, I think that you would have to be super in denial to watch what's going on in the skies and be like, no, that's normal. That's not something that, that is not regular stuff. Go. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. We're back at you, I think. All right. Colin, we're back on. Sorry about that. Had to mute you for a moment. All right. Okay, Phantomus, I'm going to take your call. Andre says, as much as Dane rants, I think he's on target. C says, I have tons of picks, but no active spraying. I don't know. I see him. Let's see. Let's see if we can get Phantomus in here correctly. We're almost there, Phantomus. Just give me a moment. My bad. I'm going to have to put you over here. Man, this has gotten bad to work. Phantomus, are you there? Hold on one second. Maybe I need to do something else. All right. I think it's because it's so bad because I didn't have it plugged in all the way. Hold on. All right, you're on, Phantomus. How you doing? That was user error there.
Well, that was just. This will only be temporary because next year you'll have the money for the implement.
Right.
I think the issue with everything in general is the words we choose in getting the message out. And to me, I've never liked global warming. And Kev, I got to be honest with you, I don't like climate change either. I like climate breakdown. That's really the words we should be using. Climate breakdown instead of climate change, because it just kind of gives you a sense of we'll take care of it in the next 30 or 40 years.
Well, it's funny, that climate change is a think tank generated term.
I'm sure.
In order to make people feel better, because global warming was too scary. And actually too on the money, too on the nose.
Yeah.
So.
And also, I think they changed it because people were stupid and they thought that global warming just meant that the warming of the planet and nothing else was going to happen.
Right.
So, they were saying, well, it's not global warming in Antarctica. It's like,
Right. Right.
They didn't understand it. And I just think that, I don't know. I think a term like climate breakdown, even that I think is a bit being generous.
Yes.
Especially with what people are dealing with and what they're going to continue dealing with. And I think the big problem that people don't realize is that the cost of goods and the cost of everyday living is going to continue to skyrocket. So that's why people should really be concerned about it. If they really want to get down to it and you don't care about the planet, you're gonna be taxed out of life.
Right. Right. I mean, it doesn't really, climate change has also just become. I think climate change also may have scientifically been a better descriptor, but it doesn't really matter what climate change, global warming, all of it has become synonymous with something that a whole portion of society has turned into like a joke, like
Yeah.
global warming or climate, whatever. And it doesn't, if people really understood what was going on, it would be, not as funny. It definitely wouldn't be a joking matter. It wouldn't be. It would be very, very serious. And it's unfortunate that people have been so thoroughly brainwashed. They've been thoroughly propagandized, and man, really good job of it.
Yeah, I was watching someone passed me a video of someone on TikTok who had a G-Wagon, and they brought the G-Wagon up to their penthouse, and it was right next to their bedroom. Yeah.
Oh, is that what that was? I think I saw that. I saw that in passing. Yes, I did.
Yeah. But what was crazy about that was the fact that, number one, it wasn't a satire, and number two, the person narrating it was completely just had no clue whatsoever. Like, there was one point of it where she was like, and then when you go in the parking garage, there's a space that might annoy some people. You have to wait 30 seconds, but I use that for my tranquility period. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I don't. It was a weird. That was a weird video, but yeah.
But I mean, this is exactly what I mean. There's no sacrifice coming. So then the next question is, how do you handle that if nobody wants to sacrifice?
I mean, I'm not sure, man. I don't know. If nobody,
You know what I think's going to happen, Kev? What I think's going to happen is, like, how the airship was a luxury for a lot of rich people and wealthy people, the helium, the Zeppelin.
Yes.
Well, what I think is going to happen is the same thing is going to happen with the car, the plane. Everything's going to be private, regular commercial flights are going to become like private planes, because everything's going to skyrocket in price. It's just going to continue to go up and up.
Right. I mean, yeah, people will just be priced out of, this whole thing about, this, the luxury goods, kind of movement,
Yeah.
where everything's all about luxury goods. But, I think people will, people will be eventually priced out of even just, necessities. So it's, and when that starts happening, I can already kind of see it on the edges. Like, people are starting to get priced out of necessities. I don't know. You can, if you pay attention, you can kind of see, under the hood a little bit. The economy is really not doing well, right? And you can kind of hear the way people talk, the way people are talking about how bad things are.
Yeah.
And how much they're struggling to make ends meet, and how much they're struggling to, do regular things like pay bills, and on top of all that, how many businesses are, if you, wherever you live, if you drive around and you notice that more and more businesses are closing down, stores are shuttering, you can see that and go, huh, all right, like, is this where we're going,
Well, it's interesting how the entertainment industry is completely still unfazed. There's no real discussion about it. Like, the tickets for shows will continue to skyrocket, 600, 700, 800, 900.
Yeah, I saw something about that too today, and I was like, I guess people are just so fanatical about these bands and these artists that they're willing to fork over, a good portion of their paycheck to go see them. But, like, how long is that sustainable for?
Well, I think it's interesting that Snoop Dogg this week was wondering why artists were not. He went off script at this corporate event, and he started talking about streaming, and they were just completely blindsided by it, because he's like saying, well, when is the artist and the writer and the creator of content going to get a proper percentage in streaming? It doesn't even make sense how much people are not making. and they
Right.
didn't have anything to say to
Right. Snoop, what are you doing? Talking about the truth there.
it. But I think it's interesting because I hope Snoop is practices what he preaches now that he owns Death Row.
Right.
You should be giving a percentage to the artist. I don't know how much you're going to have to work that out with your other artists, but I mean there is that. There's the fact that you know there's the stuff with the UPS strike that they still can't get air conditioners in their vans, which is
Right.
ridiculous.
Right.
Or rather their trucks, not their vans. They're either in a year or so with the way climate breakdown is going.
Right. Oh, another thing that I'm seeing that's a sign of the times is
Yeah.
are people living in Winnebagos.
Winnebagos, yeah.
That is a huge thing, and it's massive in LA. And actually, I was the other day, I was at work, and I saw a bunch of people like in a really nice. I'm seeing this more often in LA. People in really nice areas, right? Nice, Tony, upscale kind of areas, and there's a street, very close to this Tony upscale area where a bunch of people have bought campers or have acquired campers and are living in them. And I was going down the street, and these people were like out there, like making improvements, right? Upgrading their campers and like getting things adjusted and situated. And I was like, have people just really just decided this is going to be the way? Like, I think that people have honestly just said, this is my retirement plan, or this is my plan going forward, is just to purchase this camper, and this is what I'm going to do, right? This is how it's going to roll, into the future, right? And I'm like, wow, people have just, this is, instead of, right, the plan to like buy a home or get your 401k beefed up, or whatever it is that people might do for their retirement. No, people are like, you know what? I think I'm going to buy a camper and go park on the side of the road, but it's going to be by the ocean. It'll be really nice, like, okay.
Yeah.
That's real. That's really happening in LA. It's a thing, and it's a big thing because it's so dang expensive to live here. It's insane to live here, right? Convincing people that they should pay $2,500 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment or whatever. Like, what? Are you sure?
Yeah, they were talking about in this article about the most expensive grocery store in the United States. I think it was called Erewhon's. It's in Los Angeles.
Yes, we have one. Yeah.
Yeah, and they interviewed this one person who had several jobs, and one of the jobs she got was actually just so she could go grocery store shopping at this store.
Wow.
I thought if that's not a sign of just everything wrong in this country in terms of healthy living, you have to pay the most luxurious price. Not that there's anything wrong with that kind of I don't know, the kind of compensation if you are really have this kind of top shelf item, but to do it to people who aren't wealthy, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know how those places stand, but Whole Foods and Erewhon and all these other places, like, I don't, I guess plenty of people feel like it's worth them spending. I don't understand how people can still afford this kind of stuff.
Well, that's the other thing, Kevin.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's the other thing that people aren't paying attention to. Most people right now, there are more and more people going to Walmart to shop for food. And this is something that a lot of people aren't paying attention to. I mean, even people who are not of the Walmart type, they're going to Walmart to shop for food.
Oh, of course. And, that's why dollar stores are doing so well, Dollar Trees and whatnot. That's one of the most healthy sectors of the retail. Healthy parts of the retail sector is like Dollar Tree.
But before I go, I did want to mention that John Kiriakou is on Tara Reid today, and so if anyone wants to check that out, it's almost done right now. So after you're done listening to Black Bear News, go to Tara Reid's channel and check it out. John Kiriakou.
Word, yeah, John Kiriakou,
The CIA
whistleblower,
whistleblower.
ex-CIA whistleblower, yeah.
Yeah, the only
Who
person
went to
who
jail?
went
Didn't he go to jail for a while?
yes, he went to jail, and now he's in. He's unable.
He's
to
in
get
witness
his
protection
pension.
program. No, I don't know what.
He's unable to get his pension, which I think is pretty crazy. They
That's
still won't
really
give him
messed
his
up.
pension. So, and he's going through a divorce, so he has to do what he has to do to continue on.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people on the Democrat side would probably say he's a grifter, but you see, this is the problem we have with, anyone trying to make any kind of living in this space, they immediately call you a grifter. You know that, Kev.
Oh, right. Of course.
Yeah. But anyways,
all right,
I'm
man.
done for right now.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later, man.
Yeah. Thanks, Fantomas. All right. That's cool. We're just kind of chatting it up today. I do have, a million stories lined up. Emoji says, I'm prepared to live rough, but I need a sanctuary when the air becomes toxic. I mean, maybe that's healthy. Maybe that's a really healthy mindset to understand, like, this is where we're going. Maybe I should save my resources. Maybe I should get used to living a less comfortable lifestyle. Maybe, I should take my standard of living expectations way down, several notches. Maybe that's way more in touch with reality. Oceanic Estate says just live on the beach. You would say that. Oceanic Estate. Drat, I need more coffee. All right. So anyways, Jem Bendel is being censored for talking about collapse. This is why I tell you, please, this is also a very healthy, realistic attitude, is to realize that normal places where you get information like YouTube, I know, and even Twitter and Facebook, understand that these places may or may not allow people to say what they want to say. That we know that they already don't, but that it might get worse in the future, and that you might have to go to other places to get your information from. So just be aware of that and be ready to make that transition when the time comes. Jimmy Dore pointing out that more people are getting... All right, the big news is that Elon Musk hired what... hold on, let me go find this story, I guess. Thought I had it. He hired a woman who was weffed up. A woman who was associated with the WEF, right? And people are like, "What? Well, what's going on with this?" Well, here's something from Perpetual Shadow Band. Elon Musk says the WEF is increasingly becoming an unelected world government that the people never asked for and don't want. True. Ding. I was invited to the WEF but declined. Then he says, this is in response to, I'm excited to welcome Linda Yaccarino as the new CEO of Twitter. Linda Yak will focus primarily on business operations while I focus on product design and new technology. Anyways, Perpetual Shadowman says he says stuff like this, then goes and hires the WEF executive vice chairman to be the CEO of his $54 billion investment. So she was, I think, former, she worked for NBC or something? Somebody else says Yacarino literally spent 2020 and 2022 through 2022 shilling for the vax, etc. Anyways, she was executive chairman of the World Economic Forum. Wow. So, yeah, people have questions about this. And then Jackson Hinkle also posted about this. He says we're all getting banned again. In response to Linda Yacarino, Linda Yak. Anyways, we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. It doesn't spell good things, right? It doesn't indicate great things for Twitter, but you know, time will tell. All right. Well, let's get in what we can get in today, guys. It was kind of a loose day. Fridays are loose. You know, I'm a little less driven to do all the stories on a Friday. All right, we got some people on YouTube. We got some people on Rockfin. We got some people on Callin. Everybody's hanging out with us today on Friday. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I appreciate y'all. Oh, she was an ad exec for NBC. Thanks, Denver. Yes. NBC Universal Advertising. Denver says, I saw a barbecue food truck smoker rolling domicile yesterday. Yes, right? It's all the rage, right? Food trucks are all the rage, but soon it will be combination food truck camper van. It will be all the rage, right? People will want to live. Or this is the other thing I'm seeing in LA. Man, street vendors are exploding. All the rage, but also I think I don't know, it's a thing now, street vending food. But what I see in addition to the street vendors is people in front of their own homes, right? People are just like, well, I got to bring in some dollars. So they're just literally out in their front yards doing street vending, tacos or whatnot. But it's in their yards, right, of their house, right? And that's become a big thing too. I see that all over the place now. And I do believe that the street vendor thing is a response to economics, right? It's probably the food is cheaper, little bit cheaper to get the street vendor food, and also the overhead is cheaper, right? If you're street vending, you don't have to you don't have to pay the overhead for the restaurant, et cetera, et cetera. So you just get out there, get a couple of tables, you get a grill or whatever it is you need, and you do your thing. Low overhead, probably higher return on. That's right. Aaron hustle. Right. It is a hustle. It is a serious hustle right now in LA. Anyways, from Fenrir. Thread on the second 1 in 1,000 year heat dome just 2 years after the first one. Gotta love the new normal, right? 1 in 1,000 years, but if it happens, well, a couple years in a row or 2 years out of the last 3, well, then that's not 1 in 1,000 years anymore. Right, and who can, that's right, Tim. Going so local, we no longer get a corporate reach around. But right, for on the street vendor thing too, right? Who can afford rent? Nobody can afford rent for a home. Nobody can afford rent for a business. So we out here. Anyways, talking about the heat wave. From a moisture transport perspective, the upcoming heat wave over Western Canada has many similarities with the June 2021 heat wave. That record-shattering event had a heat dome with a 4.4 sigma max. Sadly, just 2 years later, we are heading back to record-shattering territory. Like the June 2021 heat wave, an atmospheric river upstream from the ridge will provide large latent heat release, allowing for further intensification of the downstream ridge through diabetic heat release. Jesus. Did you hear that? Diabetic heat release. Good Lord. This moisture advection will ride over the ridge and likely increase humidity levels around the northern edges of the heat dome, especially near western Hudson Bay and within the heat dome. This increased humidity may reduce absolute max temperatures, but will make nighttime temperatures feel oppressive. It also appears tropical moisture from the Gulf of Mexico will be entrained into the heat dome. Here. This heat wave will be prolonged by a second intense atmospheric river that help reinforce the downstream blocking high heat dome. By the 14th, the atmospheric river will be advecting large amounts of moisture into Alaska. The initial vorticity maximum delivering the first atmospheric river will become a cutoff low, which will help anchor the downstream ridge and continue to advect moisture into western Canada. Its reinforcement of the heat dome can be seen in the height of the dynamic tropopause, which remains very high upstream of the secondary vorticity maximum throughout the week. Yikes. All this is to say that Western Canada will be experiencing a punishing, prolonged heat wave next week that will surely crush records. It's wild. And as I said, I don't know when, but eventually we're going to experience some event that will bring temperatures. Like, remember, in that heat wave, British Columbia experienced, broke a heat record by, what was it, 6 or 7 degrees Fahrenheit? Like, it was the former record was 113 or something, and they went to 121. 121 is wildly hot for British Columbia. I don't care who you are, but you try to explain that one to me, or try to tell me like, no, that's totally perfectly fine. I'm going to tell you, you are nuts. You're out of your mind. Anyways, we'll experience a heat event sometime, somewhere, that is just going to be so goofy off the charts that people are just going to be like, oh. Like, there's going to be no explaining it away, right? It's going to be 130 degrees or 140 degrees somewhere where it absolutely should not be 130 or 40. And people are going to be like, oh, God, all right. Oh, geez. Like, there's going to be a whole lot of very instantaneous converts to climate change. Like, instant. People would be like, well, I told you climate change was a thing. I was like, shut up. You had a podcast where you said climate change was a hoax for the last 6 years. Oh, no. I honestly believed it was real the whole time. There's going to be instant converts. There's going to be a lot of like, oh, whoops. Dang. I was super wrong on that. Or actually what's more likely is going to happen is those channels will just fold shop, right? They'll just close down shop. All of a sudden, you just won't see them broadcast anymore, and be like, "Where did they go? I don't know." Like Ice Age Farmer, he's no longer like no. Where did Ice Age Farmer go? I don't know. He ain't around. Tony Heller, he'll disappear. Ice Age Farmer, disappear. They'll just close up shop, and they'll never be heard from again. And people will be like, "I wonder what happened to that guy that told us that climate change was a hoax." Huh? Where'd he go? Anyways, that's happening. Hoo-dee-lottie. That's one of my favorite expressions ever. What is that from? Jungle Book? The movie? Who did that? Yes, Rich Diana. Kevin, the heat dome along the Canadian and American coast in 21 killed 1 billion sea creatures. It was forgotten immediately. Yeah. Steph C says, I disagree, Kevin, that they will admit that it's human caused, but only by Klaus and Bill Gates and other liberals they hate. Well, you're likely right about that. They probably will. Yeah. Well, Dr. Evil turned up the heat today, in his mountain lair. They turned up the heat on the HAARP machine today. That's why it's happening. They just want to spook everybody into believing that climate change is real. And they did it this time. They did it again. All right. Probably. You're probably right. There will be some people that really try to hang on to that one. Tim says I might be underestimating narcissism. Oh, no. I don't know if I can't underestimate narcissism, but maybe I am. I don't know. Big ice cream is harping the weather. Big ice cream. I mean, William Dillon says the thing I'm least looking forward to is in the future is somebody telling me I was right about climate. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to be. I want to be wrong. I want to be super wrong. I want to be totally, completely. I want people laughing at me. I want people to just be like, oh, you were so stupid. Oh, you're such a dummy. Oh, ha, 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 you were wrong. I want that to happen. I will be like, yup. I'll go to Conspiracy Anonymous or whatever. I'll go to the meetings and I will believe in everything and I will never question again the conspiracies. I promise to never question all of the conspiracies. I mean, I believe quite a few conspiracies are real. I have some questions about some other ones. Climate change. That's not, I told you what the conspiracy is. Anyways. But if I'm proven wrong, actually, I'll be happy about it. I'll be like, you know what? I was wrong. Yes. I will. I'll eat a hat. I'll eat a bicycle. I'll run a triathlon. I'll do whatever. I will make any promises on any bet. I was wrong about climate change, and I guess I got to do the thing. Sorry. I want to be wrong. You're right. But the unfortunate problem is that we're not wrong, and that is a scarier reality than most. William Dillon says, we're looking forward to the albacore running off of San Francisco during the upcoming El Nino summer. Good fishing for all the wrong reasons. We lost our salmon season, though, due to lack of water. Right. Salmon season, canceled. Denver says, if I'm wrong about climate change, I'll let people throw rotten tomatoes at me 3 days a week for free. Okay. I'll provide the tomatoes. Very good. Yeah, I'll jump in a frozen lake. I'll do all kinds of things if I'm wrong. And gladly, happily. Terry Fox run for Black Bear News. Okay. All right. Henry Cheyenne from the famous song, I don't want to be right if extinction is wrong. Remember that? Remember that jam? That slow jam? From back in the day. jeez. Here's more extreme weather happening. I'm about to wrap it up, guys. got about 5 more minutes or so. I know I started late. I'm trying to go like a little bit later, but I have a limited times. Extreme cold in Australia has broken some records. Extreme cold is either it's too hot or it's too cold. Oakey in Queensland dipped to an astonishing negative 5.7 C. This is the lowest May temperature here since records began. Record breaking temperatures, cold or hot. These are weather extremes. This is climate breakdown. This is what happens. Quick look at this in more detail. -5 in Australia in May. Which I imagine is an anomaly, like way off the charts. Previous May record at this weather station was -4 in May 2019, not too long ago. Quite a decent record to break to the cold side, breaking it provisionally by more than 1 C. We're looking at one weather station going back about 50 years. Australia has been very cold widely. More station records were set and discussed here. Queensland state record is -6.9 C from 2019. This makes this cold episode the coldest May Day for Queensland in just 4 years. Coldest May Day. Extreme temperature says in Chile, 35 C, 37 C for 5 days in a row near winter, and will get worse. Anyways. And if the polar vortex is happening in the northern hemisphere, why wouldn't the same be happening in the southern hemisphere as things get wonky and weird? Going south says May equals south for November. Yeah, but November, even November can get cold, but it's generally not like mostly people ease into the winter a bit. Like November can get cold, I guess. But they're setting cold records, which means that things are out of whack. That's my summation, my scientific understanding of it. Hope you enjoyed that. You're welcome. All right. I don't know if there's anything else to cover right now today. I'm gonna have to bring these back. Oh well, let's. I'll show you this from Nick Oliver, who sent me this on Twitter. This is National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration markedly boosted the odds that an El Nino event will form in the tropical Pacific Ocean this summer. The big picture could lead to the first year. Get this. This is important. Important point being made right here. It could lead to the first year in which the global average surface temperatures bump up against the Paris Agreement's more stringent climate change target of 1.5 C, above pre-industrial levels. Said Zeke Hosfather, climate research lead at payments company Stripe. That's weird that he works for Stripe. You know, if you follow Zeke Hosfather, you know what a hopiist he is. You know, he's like he's large with hopium. He's got a lot of hopium. But anyways, still, all that being said, right? Zeke Hosfather is like, oh, look at all the renewables we got. If we only get the renewables, we can cure climate change. That's what he's all about. Which I can't in good faith repeat his messages around climate change. But they are once again admitting 1.5 is now we're going to bump up against it. It's a guardrail. Watch out. Ooh. Ooh, just touched it, nicked it. 1.5C they're now admitting is like, yeah, okay, we're there. We're there. I don't know, and we'll see how quickly they start. How quickly they start changing from 1.1 or 1.2 or we're at 1.5. Well, that's it. We're at 1.5. I mean, you got to admit it eventually. You got to admit it eventually because it's definitely happening in here. All right, guys, that does it for me. Quickly, good way to support the channel. Best and most direct ways to support the channel, buymeacoffee.com at Black Bear News. Cash App. Red Llama Music. Venmo at Kevin Sandbloom. Those are the preferred and most direct ways. You can also hit me with a super chat if you like, or a super ray on Rockfin if you like. Rockfinners, where you at? Whoop, whoop. And all the links are at my description in the description box below. Also, Patreon at Black Bear News. Another good way to support the channel. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Until next time, peace.